Hello lovely dancers, my name is Aisha and welcome back to Belly Dance Tutorials. In this class I'm gonna start a mini series on advanced isolations and layering. In this class I'm gonna go over some of the basic isolations. Basic doesn't mean easy or simple, but we will add to them and I will show you how you can combine basic isolations for a drum solo, for instance, and make them more accentuated and more interesting visually. And I'll also start the technique on layering and how to practice for layering and what you can do with that. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet to receive high quality videos on belly dance training like this one. I'm gonna go over some of the isolations that we're gonna use for the next maybe few classes. And with emphasis on technique, how to pay attention to other parts of the body and how to use them and combine them. So let's start with some hips slides because you cannot have too many slides in your life. This is the bread and butter of any hip movements, and in time the better you are at doing the hip slides, the better all of your other movements in the hip area are going to be. So let's start with some hip slides, but I'm going to add a little drop here. So it's going to look like that. Down, 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 down. Yeah. So in this class we're going to go over technique, but also do a little practice and drill at the end. We'll combine all of this. Now, what I want to say about these slides here and all the technique that we're going to do in this class, all the isolations, I want them to make them sharp and crisp because we're going to use them as accents in maybe drum solos or any other accents throughout the song. But I want them to be sharp and clean. So that's what the class is about today. So again, these slides. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to do this slide to the side in the same time a drop on the same side. So it's going to be slide and drop in the same time. There are not two different moves, it's just one move and it happens together. And so your hips are going side and down, side, 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 yeah? And I want this to be crisp and accentuated and clean. Now, a little bit more detail about the movement. The weight will shift from leg to leg. It's very important to shift your weight. And these are not deep, not big slides or downward movements. It's not a really big one. It's more contained, more in the area of micro isolations. We'll talk about that later. They are contained, but they are slightly outside your body frame, and they are sharp, right? And again, the weight is changing from leg to leg. So this is the working hip. So the weight is on this leg, and I'm gonna shift my weight on the other leg, right, and drop the hip. So it's gonna be a weight shift from side to side. Yeah, I'm exaggerating the movement now just to show how you have to switch your weight here. Yeah, so let's do this a few times again. Down and down. So see my whole weight. It's not very visible to the public, so it's a subtle weight shift. It's not like all the way here, that's a different movement. Yeah, it's a subtle weight shift, but it's completely from leg to leg. Other things that I want you to pay attention in all these isolations that we're going to do from now on, I want to pay attention to your arms and posture. It's probably half of the presentation because when people focus too much on the isolations, they kind of lose the arms or other body posture or body movements that happen meanwhile. But make sure that your arms are staying in the same place and they are symmetrical. And then you have to choose your height. Really, it depends on your body structure, your height, actually, your shape and everything else. So for some people, it works better if they are lower here. For other people, they may be a little higher or even a little higher. And then the hands can be like in continuation of the forearm, so it's like a straight line. Yeah. Or they can be slightly lifted, not too much, except that if you want to make a statement at some point, it's possible, right? But the elbows are pretty extended and not locked, usually, so it's not locked like that. You still want to create a roundness, a little roundness here. I'm gonna come down here, yeah. So there is a little roundness here, but they are not, too bent here, and they are not down. Definitely don't get into this movement, unless maybe it's a very folkloric style or ballet, so things like that. But yeah, you don't want to have like broken lines. Try to maintain nice long lines. Other thing very important is to maintain your posture. So make sure that if you're using your hips, you're not folding forward like that, or any other positions that you may have. So sometimes watch yourself in the mirror sideways and see how your body aligns. Also, the elbows usually are not behind the shoulder line. So this is my shoulder line here, yeah. So it's not behind that. This very rarely works, maybe on some people, but usually it doesn't work. So they are slightly in front of the shoulders, yeah. Also very important to keep your upper body straight. Chest lifted, shoulders back and down, head up, not like that, but not down, yeah. So head is lifted, upper body is lifted, pelvis tucked in, yeah. When I do hip movements, a lot of time I'm slightly backward, so my upper body is just slightly back. I'm exaggerating now just to show you. Normally when you are walking or standing, yeah, you have a normal posture, a relaxed posture, but when you dance, you have to have the feeling that you are a little backward, not much, yeah, so it's not like all the way here. But you really, your weight is in the heels, and your full upper body goes, or full body actually goes backwards slightly, just slightly, because this is how you create a good posture. Pelvis tucked in, make sure that you're not, curving up here. And nothing moves. Normally when we do these accents in the drum solo, you don't want to move other parts of the body, except maybe, if you're traveling and maybe you want to move the arms at some point, but it has to be pretty stationary and in a nice position and a nice lines, and symmetrical, right? Yeah, you don't want to get into this position at some point working with the hips, yeah? So make sure that you maintain your arm position, your upper body position, and your posture in general. These are details, it's you don't think about all these things when you learn isolations or in the beginning when you practice isolations. You only focus on the isolation, but later on try to focus on all the other parts of the body and make sure that you know what's going on and how you keep them and how you maintain them, and pay attention to that after you are confident that your isolations are good. Or even while you practice, even if you are a beginner, try to pay attention to all of the other things, because you'll get into bad habits, you'll start isolations like that, and then it's very hard to open your arms and open the chest and correct everything else. All right, so that was my teaching moment about these things. As you advance, as I said, as you advance and get into more intermediate and advanced levels, you start to look at the other parts of your body and your other movements that you are not even aware that you're doing, but you have to start being aware and correct everything. As I said, the slides will get better in time, and everything else will get better in time, but you have to work on the other parts of the body in the same time as you progress. All right, so let's go back to the topic. So I'm gonna do these slides from side to side, downward slides, yeah, and make them sharp and accentuated and symmetrical, right? Good. Now I'm gonna do upward movement. So from sliding down, we're gonna go up. So this is not a slide, it's just a strict hip lift from side to side. Also the weight is changing from one leg to the other, yeah. So the weight is on this leg, weight is on this leg, yeah. It's a complete weight change. Make sure that you're not bumping out or you're not getting into this kind of movement. I see this a lot. This is something else. It's not that it's totally wrong, but it's in a different context. Yeah, so your hips stay in the body frame. That's how I call it. They go straight up. And what I want to do now is to make them sharp and accentuated. Yeah, so it's gonna be sharp, sharp. So you put a stop on it. Stop, stop, stop. Yeah? If you are contracting your glutes when you're doing this hip lifts, you're gonna get a little reverb, so a little shimmy at the end, like a mini shimmy. Trr, trr, yeah? See? Trr, trr, trr. So it's gonna be a little reverb movement, which is nice sometimes. But if you work strictly with your legs, so this is like a leg movement, it's from the knees, you extend and bend the knees. You want to make it just sharp, sharp, and stop, stop, stop. Make sure that your arms are in the right position. They are symmetrical, shoulders down, yeah, just up and from the side. Yeah, make sure that your posture is okay. And I don't know if you can see that, but I'm slightly leaning back a little bit. All right, so we'll work with these movements. Now we're gonna go to the chest. I know this might feel a little basic, but I guarantee you that it's not. I explained these moves in the past, in the Introduction to Belly Dance playlist for beginners. So you can go back there and go over that explanations, but it's from a different standpoint. Now we're gonna go to the chest and we're gonna do just lifts and back to neutral. Lift, back to neutral. Lift, back. Right? Lift, neutral. Lift. But I'm gonna do it sharp and crisp. And that's gonna go up, 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 up. Yeah? Focus on lifting it as high as you can. You need to have some flexibility in the spine for that and good muscle control and muscle strength, all right? So control your arms, make them symmetrical. Find your spot, your sweet spot. Really, it depends on how your arms are shaped and everything else. For some people, it works better if they are more rounded. For other people, it's more straight. So just see what you like or ask someone. So also make sure that your posture is correct in the lower body. Knees are bent. If you're not sure if your knees are bent, which I've seen a lot, go down first, pelvis tucked in, and then come up to about this level. Yeah? So make sure that you still have the bend in the knees and the pelvis is tucked in. All right? Okay, so going back to the chest, I'm gonna lift, lift, and neutral. Lift, neutral, and up, 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 up. Yeah? And make it sharp. Tuck, 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 tuck. All right? Okay, let's do drops from neutral level. I'm gonna go down, neutral, down, neutral, down. Yeah? And also try to make this sharp. Down, down. When you drop the chest, make sure that you're not caving in too much. Your shoulders will go inward a little bit. But try to maintain the posture in the upper body. Try to not cave in too much, yeah? And rely more on rotating the rib cage in. I'm gonna make it slow. Let's see. Right? Then bringing the chest down. So your rib cage does a little rotation, inward, down and inward, right? And make it sharp, down. All right, we have that. Now I want to do chest movements again, but we're gonna do diagonal up. So your chest is going diagonal up, up, and back to neutral. Up, back to neutral. So, and lift it as high as you can, but then bring it down. So to make it look crisp, you have to bring it down to neutral and stop a little bit. Go up, down, and stop. So you have this middle point where you bring in the movement and it's a little stop there. So it's not like touch and go, or it's not like a rounded movement. You don't want, I mean, has a different place, but for now we want the accents to happen. So it's not round, 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 yeah? It's gonna be down, down, down. So it's gonna be up, middle, up, middle. So a little faster. All right. Moving back to the pelvis, we're gonna do pelvis tuck in and out. So it's this movement in the pelvis, a rocking movement, in, out, right? Yeah. Now here it's a little tricky because you want to make the outward movements or forward movement about the same amplitude as the backward movement. So you can call it a drop forward and a drop back. Drop forward, drop back, drop, down, down, yeah? So down forward, down back. Yeah? So also make sure that your upper body is right. So I'm gonna be here, down, in. So think of this movement not just out and in, out and in. Also think of the movement by using the back muscles and everything here, the glutes, because you want to bring the spine down or the tailbone down. So I focus on this part more than dropping. This is easier, but this is harder, for me at least. So I'm gonna do down, down in the back. That's where I focus my attention. Down, 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 down. Yeah? So we'll work with these movements for now. I'm gonna put a song and we're gonna practice. I'll try to cue all of these movements a little slower and then a little faster. All right. Slides and down. It's gonna start. Just up, middle, up, middle. Watch your hands. Faster. Drops. Drop, drop. Faster. Good. Let's try the lift, the diagonal lift. Up, middle, up, middle. Watch your arms. All right, pelvis. Correct your posture, arms. All right, dancers, that's all for today. I want you to practice these isolations until next time because we're gonna build on that and add more things to them. I want you to be very comfortable with creating them, creating isolations in a very crisp and clean manner. Go slow first, then go faster and faster and faster. And also maintain your arm and posture position all the time. Pay attention to that. Really, it takes a lot of drills to create good isolations and to use them later, because once you add to that and create more complex movements, you cannot lose the sharpness or the definition of the movement. Otherwise, it's going to look so mushy and nobody knows what you're doing, right? So we are trying to create muscle memory, strength, and flexibility to make really good isolations before we move on to advanced isolations or combinations or layering. We'll continue with this fun stuff in the next classes. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and like my video if you liked it. And I'll see you next time. Shimmy, shimmy.